Bears here with Confessions of Mommy and Life Cannot Wait. Thank you for joining me today for my podcast. I wanted to talk to you on this Mental Health Monday, and I'm going to also combine it with motivational. So it's Mental Health and Motivational Monday, a topic that works hand in hand with us achieving our fitness and weight loss goals. For many people who battle with severe obesity and gluttony, which is overeating, as I did, there's a mental component behind it. And many times we don't relate the two. In many cases, people think, well, all you need to do is get out there and exercise if you're overweight. I heard that many, many years of my life. Again, if you don't know my story, back in 2006, I was at my heaviest weight of 318 pounds. And I was just miserable. I felt like it was a smaller me trapped inside of a bigger me. I hated what I looked like. I hated myself for allowing myself to get to that weight. I knew that there was a greater me inside of me. I felt like I had achieved many things in life, but why was this one area, an area that I just was defeated in time and time again? Why couldn't I? I would lose 100, gain 100, lose 100, gain 100. And it just impacted my self-esteem, my choices, everything in life, every area of my life, it impacted. And I know the same goes for many of you. And so I had to get to the root of why. Why was I obese like this? Why was I overweight? Why was I overeating? And I'm going to give you two reasons why I did it. Why? And this is where the mental component comes from. This is where the mental health component comes in for many of you, because we're so quick to say someone's bipolar or someone is this or that when it comes to the psyche, to the mind, to the thinking, to what's going on in the mind, to address behaviors. But many times we are not quick enough to say, okay, let me get to a professional, a trained professional psychologist or psychiatrist to get to the root behind my eating. What is it that psychologically is not always just the physical that's not lining up. It's not always the spiritual that's not lining up. See, you're a spirit, you have a soul, and you live in a body, and all those work parallel to one another. I am not a medical professional. My education and degrees are not in the medical field. So again, before you start any exercise program, before you do anything, please consult a medical professional. I am, however, a certified fitness instructor. I'm a certified aerobic instructor, and when it comes to the physical aspect of getting in shape. But what I'm telling you is, in my own studies and what I have experienced myself, there is a mental component. And I'm going to suggest that you, if you can, and if you are able to, seek some type of mental health, to speak to someone about why you may be doing this to yourself. Let me show you why I was doing it. Two reasons why I was overeating, and I mean consciously overeating. I'm not saying you're just sitting there watching a movie, and then it's getting good to you. Next thing you know, you ate the whole bag of popcorn. I'm talking about I would order a whole large pizza and eat the whole thing. Or back in the I remember when I was in graduate school back in 90, let me see now. I finished my master's in 96. So back in like 94, 95, back then they supersized food. So I would get like a supersized fries and 2 Big Macs, and I would just sit there consciously and purposely and eat like that. And then afterwards, so basically binge eating. I would not purge, I would not make myself vomit. I had tried 2 times and I just was unable to do it. But I would binge eat, and then I would feel so angry with myself that I had partaken in this till I would just throw out all the food in my apartment or throw out all the food around me. So it's like if I couldn't control myself, I figured, okay, I'll control the food. So it was a very sad and sick cycle of binging, eating, and then, oh my God, extreme guilt. And then came, I can't control myself, so I'm going to control the food. So I just won't eat. I would tell myself, I won't eat for a week. I won't eat for a day. I'll go on a 10-day fast when I didn't. Or I would just throw out all the food in my apartment. And so those were some very low points in my life. And so I realized why I was doing it. One of the main reasons why I was purposely overeating and indulging in gluttony is because I felt unworthy. I felt unloved. I hated myself. And so I was punishing myself. So in some sick psychological way, I thought if I overeat, I will punish myself. It's like I had a bad girl syndrome where I felt like, okay, you've done these wrong things in life, or life just has not panned out how you thought it would. This has happened. This love interest didn't work out, or this job didn't, or this is, so I'm going to punish myself. So consciously and subconsciously, I was punishing myself. Now, can any of you all relate to that? Some of you may be thinking, oh my God, and like just hearing this now, a light bulb may have gone off in your brain like ding, oh my God, that's why I'm doing it. You may have been molested in your life. You may have suffered great losses. You may have not excelled in certain areas and you feel like a failure. You've told yourself that you are a failure. Therefore, you are acting out failure behaviors. You are self-sabotaging yourself. And that is what I was doing. I was self-sabotaging myself with this behavior to guarantee to make myself stay the very thing that I detested, the very thing that I abhorred, the very thing that I hated. And so that was the one reason why I was doing that, I was punishing myself. The second reason why I was overeating is because it gave me a high. You understand? It gave me a sense of euphoria, or a pseudo euphoria, a pseudo selah, like a time to rest. If just for that time when I was eating. And then came the immense guilt right afterwards. It's sort of similar to, like, for me, I became a Christian when I was 9 years old. So I grew up in the church. I grew up knowing that you should not fornicate. You shouldn't blah, 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 blah. But yet every time I would indulge in these practices of giving my body away and sleeping with other men, would come the euphoria, and then afterwards the guilt. But it got to the point, sometimes if you continue in a act for a certain amount of time, you may get to the point where you no longer feel the guilt or condemnation. That is when it becomes very dangerous. And that is where I was, not just with my life as far as sexually, as far as promiscuous behaviors, but right now in dealing with this one particular topic, eating, where it got to the point where the guilt, I didn't even have guilt anymore with overeating and feeding myself. It just became rage. So let's add it up now. I was already dealing with from, I don't know, God knows, I don't know. I was angry. I dealt with immense anger from at the age of 12 on up. So catapult that, add that to me battling severe obesity and gluttony, the anger, the rage, the guilt, the self-condemnation. And then before you know it, you're just a mess. You are a mental, a spiritual, and an emotional and physical mess. You are also I was a hormonal mess, because you know that your weight, your food, everything interferes with the chemical balances in your body, with your hormone levels, everything. So I said all that to say this. For many of you, you know who I'm talking to you too. And I'm talking to you out of love and understanding. What you're doing to yourself, you're punishing yourself. No matter how much you overeat, it's not going to take away the pain of that person who may have raped you or molested you. It's not going to take away the pain of your first love leaving you, of you losing a parent. It will never soothe the pain. You got to get help for it. You have to seek help. And you are not weak for needing that help. You're not weak for having horrible things have happened to you, whether if it was out of your control or in your control. You cannot kill yourself by eating, because that is what you are subconsciously trying to do. You are worthy to be saved from yourself. You don't have to die in this and lose yourself in this downward spiral of obesity and gluttony. I know the world tells us we have to accept who we are, and yes, you do. To make a change, you do have to accept it, but you are not the sum total of your mistakes. You can accept who you are at this moment, but you don't have to stay that way. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it got, for me, My only saving grace, and thank God, was I was able to get weight loss surgery. I'm not pushing that on anyone, but if you have an olive branch extended to you in whatever means that may look like, if it's counseling, if it's getting a personal trainer, if it's getting a nutritionist, if it's talking to your physician about different weight loss strategies, whatever that olive branch is, grab hold and don't let go until you reach your goal. I know what you're going through. You are not alone. I know there are a lot of fat acceptance groups, and there's nothing wrong with accepting your very present fate. But this is not where you have to end up. You don't have to be a 400-pound woman. You don't have to be a 318-pound man. You don't have to live in constant condemnation, binging, purging. You don't have to do it. You can be free from it. And it's not your fault that so much has happened in your life. Now, yes, you are responsible for what you're putting in your body. But the reason behind it, the lack of control, just start seeking help. You win when you start. And you win when you continue. And you win when you finish. Again, I know what you're going through. I have been through it all. I know the emotional roller coaster you're on. I know the lies you're telling yourself. It'll never work. I can't do it. I'm a failure. I'm this and this. I might as well just eat this. I might as well drink this. I might as well sleep with this person. I might as well indulge in this destructive behavior because of this. But that's a lie. Even now, I'm not 318 pounds. I have this last 18 pounds that I'm struggling with. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm not going to let that go. I'm not going to say to heck with it and get back up to where I was. I'm not going back. You don't have to go back. You're not a failure. You're not a failure. So I just wanted to encourage you today, and please just seek the help that is available to you. Seek help. Talk to someone. And if they're not talking right, go to someone else. I remember when I was battling this and when I started thinking about getting weight loss surgery, I said, you know what, I'm going to talk to a counselor, a psychologist. So I went and I had my first session with this lady, and she was just like, well, let me ask you this. Why don't you just accept who you are? This is what she told me. She said, I have a daughter who's a plus size woman and she's beautiful like you are. And I tell her, just accept who you are. And I said to myself, yeah, that's fine to accept to yourself, but I am physically not well. At 318 pounds, I've already had my gynecologist tell me you are not at a healthy weight. If you ever got married and had kids, you would be bedridden because you would be putting extra weight on top of the 318 pound frame you have. And so I knew right then and there, wait a minute, this woman is not talking. That's not right for me. That wasn't right. So I had enough unction and I think enough wisdom from God himself to say, no, I'm going to seek me another doctor. When I was going to get weight loss surgery, the first surgeon I went to told me, look, I had a certain insurance. He said, look, this insurance is going to take forever. You're not going to get this. You're not going to be able to get this surgery with this insurance. It hurt me. I was devastated. I went back to my apartment. This is when I lived in Philadelphia. Went back to my apartment. I cried. I overate because I was depressed that whole weekend. And then I said, you know what, God? If it's meant for me to get this surgery, make a way out of no way for me. A week later, my job that I was at said, you know what? We're going to change our insurance. We're going to change to Blue Cross Blue Shield. I knew right then and there God was going to work a miracle. I got Blue Cross Blue Shield. I set up an appointment with a fantastic surgeon, Dr. Alan Brader. Next thing I knew, within 30 days, I was on that table getting my surgery, and it changed my life. Only copay I had to pay, I only had to pay $100 for 2 nights at the stay, and it was a $200 all I had to pay out of my pocket for this surgery that changed my life. And what I'm telling you, had I stopped at the first no, God only knows where I would be today. So you all listen. You do not have to stay where you are in your mental thoughts. It starts in your mind. This is Angela Johnson Ayers. Listen, I'm going to be posting more because I know that people feel this way. I know the despair. I was watching a TV show the other day of this family where they all were morbidly obese. And one of the ladies got weight loss surgery, and they're trying to convince the other gentleman to get it, but he's afraid. He's afraid. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining me. This is Angela Johnson Ayers. Continue to look at my YouTube channel, and also go on to my blog. I need to post some of these on my blog at Confessions of Mommy at www.blogspot.com. Talk to you soon. Be blessed. Bye-bye.